If you like to drive around and talk about the latest happenings, this is the channel you need. So subscribe and follow Carmentary.
Rather uncomfortable. Get out of here. There's a fly in the car. There's a fly in the car, so if you see me spazzing out, it's because I'm trying to kill a fly while driving, while doing a Carmentary. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Carmentary. My name is Neil, and today I am going to talk about Japan and some economic news, on-the-ground, local economic stuff that I have seen firsthand, personal experience here, and this will kind of bring you up to date on what is happening in Japan right now. So let's get into it with a comment I heard from a Sapporo city official just a few days ago. And I thought this was interesting, relevant, and good news. I took it as good news. We had a big festival called the Lilac Festival here in Sapporo. This was a yearly event since, I don't know when they first started it, but it's been quite a while now. It is held in the Odori Park, which is a long park. It's about 15 blocks long, right in the center of the city. It divides the northern blocks from the southern blocks. So you start counting from the Odori Park. It is the central theme. It was patterned after the city of Nagoya. Nagoya has a big park, looks just like the Odori Park. It's even bigger though. It's wider, it's longer. Nagoya is a bigger city. So Sapporo, when the city planners sat down and said, what the heck should we do? They said, let's do that Nagoya thing. And they built an identical park. It's very nice. There's a TV tower on the first block, and then you have all these blocks. There's fountains, there's benches, there's stuff like that, but there's lots of room to hold events, and that's what they do. Sapporo is very good at it. Sapporo, in the city government, they have a section called MICE, which stands for Meetings, something Conventions, Economy, or something like that. I don't know, I forget. It's called MICE. Anyway, there was an official from that group who came to a meeting I was at the other day, and he gave us some stats on the number of people who had visited the Lilac Festival this year in Sapporo Odori. Now, the festival had been canceled for the last at least 2 years. Maybe it's 3 years. I think it was actually 3 years due to 2020, 2021, and 2022. So due to the old pandemic there, they canceled the festival because the festival is all about eating food outdoors in fairly close proximity to other people. So it's kind of a tricky social distancing situation. You're not really going to be able to control and socially distance people. They got a lot of food booths set up. This year, I believe it was covering like at least 3 or 4 blocks. So there was the 5th block, the 6th block, the 7th block. And each one kind of has sort of a theme. The 6th block was all about the wine. They had a huge wine booth set up, and you could get a tray with 6 different glasses of wine, all different types. So it's like a little sampler. And then obviously they had, some Italian food. There was other food. We had Thai food. There was Vietnamese food. I saw hamburgers. A good variety of different food. The food is all provided by generally local Sapporo, maybe Hokkaido restaurants and small businesses that put in sort of like you have to apply for it. You're not guaranteed a booth. It costs, obviously, to rent the booth. And then you have to hope that enough people come and you make the money back. But there were a lot of people there, so that's what I'm trying to get to. I know I'm a little long-winded in my approach here. I'm trying to get there. Basically, we went down. I drove by once to look at it, and I thought, wow, there's a lot of people. Looks good. It was a weekday. My wife and I ended up going down to actually eat some food and check it out on the, I believe it was the second to last day. I believe it was the Saturday on the final weekend. And we went there right around 8 p.m. Last order's at 8:30, and they shut the lights off at 9. It's like boom, boom. And everybody it was funny when they shut the lights off, the people still sitting at tables like eating and drinking, and they're like, ah! Like they just, I mean, it wasn't even go pitch dark. There's still like street lighting and stuff, but they kind of like turn off the lights to let people know that it's over. And people are like, oh, what happened? It's like, man, you were focused on your beer there, weren't you? Sorry, ambulance there. So we go down there, we get some food. It was very good. Good vibes. Lots of young people. In fact, we sat down and we had our food and had a coffee. And I'm looking around and it felt like we were the oldest people there, which I don't think is actually true. But just, you know, a short glance around and it was like, man, definitely like 95% of the people here are way younger than we are. And I'm 51, so it felt like there were a lot of young people. Anyway, this Sapporo city official gave us the official numbers. Obviously, they calculate how many people come. I don't know how they do that. Maybe through the sales or the numbers of people visit the restaurants, or maybe they have someone counting the actual number of people come in, whatever. The highest recorded number of visitors ever for the festival. Okay, I finally was able to get that out. In 2016, they had recorded the highest number of visitors ever to the Lilac Festival. That was in 2016. So that was back when the world was normal. So the last 3 years that have been canceled, obviously the last best year on record was 2019. So they blew that out of the water, and then they beat 2016, which had been the highest. So they set a new record. So that's great. It's 2023. Lilac Festival comes back for the first time in 3 years. Obviously, this sounds like some kind of a rebound effect, right? What I found really heartening is that it was a lot of young people. And maybe a lot of young people who had never been to the Lilac Festival. Maybe back in 2019. So if these are all like, you know, early 20s, mid 20s kind of people, that's what it felt like. It felt like a lot of people in their 20s. 3 years ago, they would have maybe been in university. They were in school, studying, whatever. And now, for the first time in 3 years, you know, now they're working, they got jobs, whatever. And this festival pops up and they're like, yeah, we want to go. We want to do something, man. We didn't get nothing for 3 years. We were bored. And boom, they come down there, they're eating and drinking, they're loving it, they're having a good time. It was great. The vibes were good. So that was positive news. And the other thing the city official said, and they were kind of talking it up about, you know, the rest of the year. And obviously there's like 5 big events for the city of Sapporo. It starts off with that Lilac Festival. There's the Sapporo Matsuri, or the Jingu Matsuri as it's called, which is coming up real soon. There's Yosakoi Soran Matsuri, which is a big festival with all these dance teams. That's going on second week of June, I believe. And then you have the beer garden in the summer, which is another big one, also in Odori Park. And then you have Aki Matsuri, which is the autumn festa, or the autumn festival, which is kind of basically the same thing as the Lilac Festival, but it's held in the fall. Again, tons of good food booths, some stores selling knickknacks and stuff as well. And then you have the Yuki Matsuri, which is the snow festival, which is in February of next year. But the calendar year in Japan is from April to April, so that's the way they look at it. The business year is April to April. So the Yuki Matsuri falls into this calendar year, or this business year. And they were saying all of these festivals, and I'm quoting, they used the words full spec. Huh? Full spec. Full spec this. Oh man, I did it again. I missed my road. because I'm doing my Carmentary. I'm focusing so hard here. All right, we'll take another route. That's all right. Full spec is the word they love to use in this situation, and basically it just means they're going to do full specification is what it stands for. Sorry. The maximum quality, the full event. They're not cutting back, because the last couple of years it was either cancel or scale down. That was kind of the style of pretty much everything. You either scaled down your event to kind of fit in with the times and, like, you know, cut out the food booths and still do the festival kind of thing, or whatever. You know, they had to find a workaround. So now it's back to full spec, which I think is great and very exciting for Sapporo. Okay, let's switch gears and let's talk about the sort of more, I guess it's the negative thing I have to talk about today. This whole situation in Japan, where Japan has become a cheap country to visit. As in, you know, along the lines of like I don't know, like Bali or Indonesia or I don't even know. I haven't been to those places, so I'm just sort of going off of stuff I've heard. Mexico, you know, like wherever you would go to travel, where your money, your dollars that you bring suddenly turn into like way more cash when you exchange them, and then everything is cheap to start with, so you get the same meal you would get at home for a quarter of the price or less. You know, that kind of a tourism destination is not what I always thought Japan to be. And living here for 30 years, you know, high taxation rates, probably I think like second highest in the world or something, very high, just generally high prices on everything. That was kind of like the image that I have become accustomed to and always thought of. But now Japan has become a cheap travel destination. Obviously, one thing is the exchange rate. Right now, the yen, weak to the dollar, 137 yen to the dollar today. We just checked on that. So you are getting a lot more yen for your dollars, or whatever currency you come from, probably, unless you're from an even weaker currency, and then you're probably not coming here. So everyone from Europe with the euros, America, Canada, Australia, etc., you're getting a bargain just by exchanging your money. And then Japan has become known for, you know, good service, cleanliness, quality, etc., and good value on the pricing, especially when it comes to food. Now, this is what brought this up for me. For those of you who know, and those of you who don't know, I'll repeat it anyway. We manage a small business that sells mainly soft ice cream, drinks, and some food. And in that part of it is, you know, setting the prices, deciding on the menus, doing all that stuff. So I also manage the Google Maps business account for the business. So I get to see all the comments and the ratings and rankings and stuff that we get when people come to the store and they leave a comment, which is always nice and I appreciate it. So just, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, I got a comment that said, it was I think some Europeans. It was definitely a Caucasian person. I didn't talk to them or hear them talking, but they left a comment, and it was something along the lines of, you know, oh, just randomly bumped into this place, had an ice cream. The prices were high for Japan, but the ice cream was delicious, so it was worth it. I think that's pretty much what the comment said. The prices were a bit high, or high, for Japan. Key word here. The prices were high for Japan. And I'm like, yeah, like Japan's expensive, isn't it? I thought that was like what we were known for. Japan is like, you're not getting a cheap deal over there, man. I remember that. Like, people are, oh man, it's so expensive. You know? That's like, I swear. Anyway, So now suddenly Japan is like the bargain place to go and have ice cream, I guess. But our prices were a little high. But the ice cream was delicious, so it was worth it. 4-star rating. Okay, I'm not bitching about the comment. I'll take it. 4-star rating, that's great. Our average is 4.5. And I've actually heard from another customer earlier in the week who came by and was like, oh, we came to your shop because we saw you had a 4.5 star rating. And I was like, oh man, I guess those Google ratings are rather important. I particularly, I look at that stuff when I travel, and yeah, if a place is like a 2-star, 1-star rating, you're gonna be like, this place probably sucks. But in general, I don't freak out. I'm not. Anyway, I don't make all my decisions based on the stars on Google, because I know there's a lot of a-holes out there who will give you a bad rating for nothing really. Anyway, the point is, the image now for foreigners coming to Japan is that Japan is a cheap place to eat, drink, and stay, I guess. And I don't know if that's a great thing. I really, I'm not too happy with that. I would be happier if the customer was like, the prices were right on point, but the ice cream was like really delicious. So I was super happy, and I thought it was a bargain. I would like that better than, the prices seemed high for Japan. I don't think we're heading in the right direction with that. And I would just like to say, and I'd love to hear some comments from other business owners out there, especially, foreigners who have businesses in Japan, especially like restaurants and stuff like that. What do you think? I think the prices, are too low. So in a way, I'm agreeing, right? I do. And just as a business owner, as you're running a business and you're making your calculations and you're trying to figure out like how much we should charge for this. Obviously, with restaurants and businesses, certain things are going to be your real moneymaker, and certain items, maybe you lose a little money on that one, but you make more on this other one. There's a balance. Not everything is equal across the board. I understand that. But it just feels like nobody right now, especially in the service industry here in Japan, nobody's killing it, man. Not that I know of. There's tons of like grant money and government money being thrown around the last few years. The government's just printing it up, Oh, you want to build a new sauna and add on to your business? Oh, we'll pay for that. Oh, you want to add an addition on there and have more seating? Oh, great. Oh, you want a takeout window? That's going to cost you $10,000? Oh, that's fine. We'll pay for that. Tons of that money going around. But as far as like customers just flowing in and throwing down money and being able to price things at like the price you really feel it should be, I don't feel that way. I feel like we're, especially here in Hokkaido, in Sapporo, where our population's 2 million. We don't have, 8 million people just champing at the bit to knock down our door and get our product, right? We have to really work for it. In that situation, it feels like we're not able to charge what the product really deserves. So I'd love to hear what other people think on that. In general, though, I think Japan, service industry, restaurants, food especially, the prices need to start going up so that we can all survive and continue on. I'm not talking about like get rich quick here. I'm just talking about like continuing on to be a functioning world. Because I think that is a big draw of Japan. It is all the little mom and pop shops. It is all the little delicious eateries and food stalls, and all of that stuff adds up to this big package that is, Japan and how amazing it is, right? That's the Japan that everyone comes for. It's not the chain restaurants and the McDonald's and, that's not what you come to Japan for. You come for all those little tiny sushi shops and all that stuff. So those places, if they disappear, man, Japan's going to be it's going to be drastically different. So there was that, and then all right, this is kind of getting long. Maybe not many people hang out this far, but we're calling this a podcast. We might as well go for it. The final thing, this is a thought I had the other day. This kind of relates to the declining population of Japan. This is a huge issue. It's a global issue in many countries. Japan has been talked about for years and years and years now. Even Elon Musk came out and said it. What was that, like 6 months or a year ago? Japan is going to disappear. He made some brash comment, and then everyone jumped on him, and as always. But he's right. The population decline is so steep. Japan's in real trouble. And Japan as a culture is, as I was just saying, a craftsman culture. You need those people to become those craftsmen, make those great shops, create, Japan, the technology thing used to be the king of the world, and now really fallen off on that one. But I really think the quality of life and the craftsmanship is still here for many things. But aging population, tons of people are going to be disappearing from the country here in the next few years as those baby boomers age and age out. And I just had this vision as a business owner, and right now is a super slow time of year, right? So that affects my mood and the way I look at things as well. Late May, early June is really dismal in Hokkaido for business in general, especially on the weekdays. So I just sort of had this vision of, like, maybe 5 or 10 years down the road now. I don't know when this would be. It could be even sooner. I had this vision of Japan becoming, or like the service industry becoming a weekend only country. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking about us, like our business, and going, man, if this is what it was like all the time, this is like unsustainable. Like, we would just be better off closing down Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, shut it down, and then just open on the weekends and try to run the business like that. Because what I'm seeing happening is, if you don't have enough people, everybody's got to work. If you have a surplus of people, you have this nice exchange where each day a certain amount of people can take off because there's other people to fill their place and do the job. And right now, the more people you talk to and the more things you hear from different companies and blah, 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 there's not enough people. So everybody's having to, like, work all the time. If you want to maintain that same level of economy, if you're willing to really shrink the economy down, then I guess it's possible, shrinking people, shrinking economy, we keep the same balance. So there's always people who can take off on weekdays, and those people who get off days on weekdays, they go around and they eat lunch and they go to the cafe and they go see a movie and they spend money. And then on the weekends, obviously that's your 80% of your population or whatever it is. Boom, they're out there on the weekends and lots of money moves around. So that was the vision I had. Maybe in the future, Japan is like just working non-stop, Monday through Friday, everybody. Head down, get into it, get your job done. And then on the weekend, there's like this explosion of the fun times economy, where everybody gets out there and goes and spends money. And all the service businesses just adjust to that, and you do your prep on Friday night, you get ready to rake it in on Saturday and Sunday. And then you probably have to go and take a part-time job at some factory because there's not enough people, and you go do that Monday through Friday. It's just sort of this random idea that popped into my head, but I thought I would mention that because that's kind of what it feels like we are heading towards here in Japan, especially in the countryside here, where we have limited numbers of people. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up now, and I think that goes on long enough. Thanks for listening to my Carmentaries as always. By the way, this is officially now a podcast and you can listen to it on YouTube Music. How do you like that? YouTube finally got their act together and taken the whole podcasting seriously. So now my commentaries are available through YouTube Music, which is kind of cool. All right, remember to drive safe.
If you like to drive around and talk about the latest happenings, this is the channel you need. So subscribe and follow Carmentary.